Let's bring in for a wider analysis Diane Orentlicher, who's professor at the Washington College of Law. Diane specialising in international law. And Diane, thanks for being with us here in France 24. We appreciate your time. How important is it that justice is not just done, but seen to be done and seen to be done fairly?
Well, both are very important. I have been struck by how important it is to the Ukraine government that the atrocities underway, as well as the invasion itself, be addressed through a framework of law. The government of Ukraine has, as you indicated, had recourse to a number of international courts, but also it's been very actively investigating war crimes in real time, despite the fact that it's under assault. And so accountability is clearly very important to this government, and I expect is very important to many victims in Ukraine. It's also very striking to me how how much emphasis, I would say, the government has placed on having fair proceedings, which is difficult to do in the heat of battle. But the government has been advised by international prosecutors with a lot of experience in international standards, and I understand is trying to ensure that its proceedings are fair and up to the highest standards of fairness.
That's the fear, isn't it, I suppose, Diane, that there is so much emotion and anger invested in what is happening right now on every level. It's hard to see that this soldier, whether he's right, whether he's wrong, whether he did it or whether he didn't do it. Well, in fact, he's admitted it, but there we go. It's hard to imagine he's going to get a fair trial. What do you think?
Well, as I mentioned, there are a lot of international observers and mentors to Ukrainian prosecutors, and that's a safety rail in itself. It's typical in international practice that where there are concerns about fairness, that international monitors are sent. These advisors aren't the same as monitors, but they can provide, and I think will provide, a check against unfair proceedings. The fact that they are publicized is an additional check on that. I think the world will be watching very carefully to ensure that they're fair.
Indeed, and as you say, parallel investigations are going on. This, though, is the first case of its kind, kicking off a whole process. Now, Ukraine's chief prosecutor, Irina Venedikova, has posted online saying there are over 11,000 ongoing cases of war crimes and already 40 suspects. Is there a case, and I think it's been mentioned previously by, I think we can go high up as Volodymyr Zelensky, that there should be some kind of tribunal set up, a Nuremberg-style tribunal, in order to investigate these crimes?
Well, first of all, as you noted, the International Criminal Court is investigating atrocities in Ukraine. It has jurisdiction over war crimes and crimes against humanity and potentially genocide committed in Ukraine. So there is an international tribunal very much seized of this. The prosecutor of the ICC, the International Criminal Court, went to Ukraine in the last few days and has a fairly substantial team of investigators working with him. The government of Ukraine is cooperating with that.
So
the discussion...
Indeed. I was going to say, so safe then, as far as you're concerned, in the hands of Chief Prosecutor Mr. Khan, who has been to Ukraine, who's been to Bucha and seen the scale of what happened there. And as you say, he has a great team on the ground working closely with Ukraine's people to try to make sure that justice is done. Going forward, does the recognition of Russia play a role in this? I mean, Russia right now kind of almost washing its hands of any kind of responsibility.
Well, Russia does not accept the jurisdiction of the International Criminal Court, but legally it is subject to the jurisdiction, or its nationals are subject to the jurisdiction of this court for atrocities committed in Ukraine. And so if custody is possible over suspects and the prosecutor makes out a strong, compelling case, there will be trials before the International Criminal Court in The Hague.
Diane Orentlicher, thank you very much indeed for joining us here in France 24. We appreciate that insight you've given us into what is happening and what will continue to happen starting in this courtroom in Kyiv, as we've been reporting, but of course the process set to spread, of course, with all the other cases that are to be investigated. Diane Orentlicher, professor at the Washington College of Law. Thank you very much indeed.
My pleasure.
Thank you.